Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Run It Back. I'm Michelle, Chandler P, Lou Will, Boogie chilling today. He's got the day off.
But First off day has happened.
I mean, how is that happening? He just got here? We got a lot of basketball to talk about. We also going to have Jared WEISS from The Athletic to talk some Spurs a little bit later. But we're going to start with Giannis. Man, just quietly, things are really happening in Milwaukee. And here we go at the buzzer. Beats Indy. It was Miles Turner's big return, and we will get to that at some point. 33 points, 13 rebounds, and it's his second buzzer beater of his career for Giannis. Turner finishes with 9-7 and 5 blocks. Pascal finishes with 32. But let's get to Giannis for a second. We're going to start with that buzzer beater just because there's no way in the world that this was the plan going in. So, Chandler, difficulty of the shot. Let's rate it. What do you got?
A 10 out of 10. I mean, this was an insane shot. And if you're the defense, listen, you live with this. This is fantastic defense, fantastic, isolation defense by Naismith. The help defense was there. Just a great player, hit a great shot. And these are the shots you have to live with if you're Indiana. Here's what I noticed about this, though. I love the fact that Giannis is so into it. Silence in the crowd, thumbs down. You know this is more than a game. And Lou's played these games before where you have an ex-teammate or you yourself go back to a place and it's hostile and the environment is jumping and they're saying things. And there's a lot of trash talk. Giannis wanted to win this game, obviously for the Bucks, but he wanted to win this game for the big fella, Miles Turner. And he did. And he hit an awesome shot. And again, as a defense, you just got to clap your hands and hats off to Giannis there. But you with that shot.
Okay. I think that was like a weird little glitch in the matrix, but we're going to go ahead and take it. Lou, what'd you think? I don't know.
We just realized Chandler's an alien. He's not real.
Yeah, you went full robot on.
Up, Chandler.
I do got a new camera today, so we're working out all the kinks.
The gig is up. But listen, you know what? I think Indiana would take that shot for the game. I think they really would take that shot for a game. They showed him a crowd. They didn't allow him to get in the paint where he's most comfortable, where he can be dominant. You got 4 guys on 4 different boxes right there. He's shooting a fadeaway jump shot over 2 guys with a late contest coming from that corner as well.
God.
This is a shot. Yeah, this is a shot that every defense would take, especially for a guy who's not known to make these type of shots, who doesn't have the reputation for fadeaway jump shots 18 feet from the basket, going over his weak shoulder. You'll take that shot. Also, on the flip side of it, if you're Giannis, I like to see your game expanding out to these type of shots, these type of heroics to add to your bag at this stage in your career. An incredible shot. It was an incredible game on both sides. I think both teams were competitive. But if I'm the defense, I'm living with that shot for the game.
Yeah, and I think Giannis, he has a great understanding of shot selection now, especially knowing his weakness is outside shooting. He's only taking the shot in the game, in the shot clock. He's never really forcing these type of attempts. So I think he's like last night, he was 1 for 2 from the 3-point line. I love that. He's more focused on being physical, getting out in transition, and doing what he does best. So like Lou just said, you got to just tap his butt on this one and give him credit on this shot, because this was an insane shot.
Tap his butt, ladies and gentlemen. Just get on that. Giannis averaging. By the way, the lighting is, I'm distracted, Chandler. You're glowing. Giannis averaging 34 on 68% shooting. And he's 13 boards a game at this point, Lou. And I can't believe I'm saying this in a year where we're talking about Denver might be the best squad they've put together. Are we looking at the best Giannis that we've seen so far in his career? He is still almost not even 32 yet.
Yep, he's in that pocket, and Chandler will know that from 30 to about 34, that is your window of your prime. That is at a time in your career, no matter what your accolades are, no matter what you've accomplished, in between that span of time, that's where you start to figure out the game. That's when you learn how to manipulate the game to go your way. That's how you find ways to play a game inside of the game, play chess and not checkers. And I think Giannis is in that position. He's always been a high percentage guy when he's played because of the style of basketball. He's always attacking the rim. He's always trying to finish at the top of the rim. He knows how powerful he is when he plays at the rim. But now he's expanding his game. Now he's starting to understand things. We just talked about that game winner that he just made, fading away from the basket. That's something that he's adding to his game. He's not forcing. He's taking what the defense is giving him. And even if at the three-point line, he only shot 2 3-pointers, but I'm going to take the shots that you guys give me. If not, if you're going to back up from the three-point line, I'm going to force your hand some way or another by closing that gap in between space. So I love where Giannis is, but this is absolutely the best version of him that we've seen so far in his career because, again, he just has so many different tools in his toolbox that he can go to, that he can reach in his bag and try to win basketball games because of his experiences over the years. And now he's using all of those experiences. He's using all of everything that he's gone through, all of his failures, everything that people have criticized him for. He's using all of those things against everybody, and he's coming into his prime.
Yeah, that 19-20 season when he won MVP and he averaged 30 and 14 on 55% shooting was insane. The dude's shooting 68% from the field, and he's shooting 61 from the free throw. So he's still got room to grow there. But again, it's never going to be his strength. But the fact that he is pretty much a guard, wing, whatever you want to call him, and can dominate like a Shaquille O'Neal did is truly remarkable. And basically, Wemby wants to be like this. They're very similar, but Giannis is so physical that's the next step that Wemby can take, just how Giannis just manhandles you in the post, on the offensive glass, on the defensive end. I'm actually surprised he doesn't average more than a block a game because Giannis has that Wemby type potential to alter shots and block shots like he does. But this is a great version of him. And when you look at the makeup of this team, we always talk about second option or third option. There's a clear-cut one, and there's 9 guys on this team that average double digits. That is awesome for a guy like Giannis that just knows I can pick my spots, I can go when I want, I can be aggressive every single night, and I got 8 other guys that are capable of going and getting me 15 to 20 points a night. Guys like Gary Trent, guys like AJ Green, guys like Bobby Portis. Those guys are consistent, they're reliable, and they know how to play off a star like Giannis. So right now it's working. In the Eastern Conference, it's wide open. If I'm the Bucks, I'm looking at, Philly and the Bulls and these teams that are right around us. I think I'm just as good as them, if not better.
You know what? We talked about OKC yesterday and them having a blueprint of winning. Look at how teams are reverting back to having one star and a bunch of role players around and having guys to buy in. The Milwaukee Bucks, they are the epitome of that, right? Like you lose Dame Lillard to injury, then eventually trade him back to Portland. And now you have a clear pecking order, and now you got 8 to 9 guys that's giving you really, really good production, and they are bought in. They're bought into the system. They're bought into, hey, this is going to be the guy that leads us, but everybody hold your weight. Everybody just do your job, and we're going to be okay. And the Milwaukee Bucks are showing that, man, that this preseason, we were unclear about what this team was going to look like, what was going to be the personality, what was going to be the make of this team. And they're starting to show us. They're going to do this by committee, and Giannis is going to be the head of the snake to that. As long as he plays well like this, it makes it easy for all of the role players to do their jobs. And Milwaukee's been hooping so far, man.
5th best odds right now for MVP. I think this is going to be, if it keeps up even remotely close to this MVP race is going to be really fun all season long. But anybody putting a couple bucks on that, Chandler?
Yeah, I mean, plus 600. It's tough because those guys ahead of him, when you're talking about Wemby and SGA and Jokic and Luka.
Who do you have ahead of him right now?
SGA, Jokic, Wemby. Then it's
Giannis.
Probably him, honestly. Giannis,
all right, so
Luka,
he's moved up a spot.
So right now, right now I got Giannis I'll even say I got Giannis in the 3 spot. Even though I would say Wemby. He's out of all of these guys, he just had a recent dud. Listen, this is gonna be a game by game thing. If all of these guys are playing at this level, we gotta judge them game by game. Wemby just had a dud, so for today.
Fair.
Give me Giannis in that spot.
You know what's awesome for All-Star Weekend is that none of them are American.
Correct.
Chandler, I know. Isn't it? Oh, you're being sarcastic.
Correct. I still like USA for whatever reason. I still like USA. Maybe I'm a little delusional a little bit, but I still like USA. Where's my flag?
You guys are flag waving
to the
Patriots.
moon, Lou. To the moon.
I'm going to bet you guys all of my monies when it comes down to this. Big return from Myles Turner. Not exactly the way I thought it was going to go out. I thought this was going to be a really nice, warm welcome. It wasn't. A lot of boos. Here's Myles Turner after the game.
It was disheartening, man. It was frustrating. Just, you give 10 years of your life, your blood, your sweat, your tears. You take pay cuts. You survive trade rumors. You try to do everything the right way. And then sometimes not stuff shakes out. It's cool. I take it on the chin. I think a lot of people will say I said things, but I think a lot of people want to formulate their own narratives and spin it to whatever they want it to be. But it is what it is, man. Like I say, you take it on the chin, you just move on.
Man, that's tough.
I know, Lou. What'd you think of the trade rumors thing too? That was every year. What did you think?
Yeah, I feel for him. He makes a great point. 10 years of your career in a fan base that, at that 10-year mark, you finally kind of get it together and you get to the finals and a very competitive 7-game series. And then you move on and that's the greeting that you get. That's the thanks that you get, all because of some internet talk. I didn't love it. I'm not very familiar with the Indiana fan base when it comes to these type of scenarios. You really don't see a lot of guys come back to Indiana and be received in that way that's played for the Indiana Pacers. So with all things considered, it is disheartening to have that welcome. I can't imagine me playing in Philly for 8 years and then coming back and being booed. I can't imagine coming back to the Clippers after a great 5-year run and being booed, let alone a 10-year span that you help lead a team to the finals and have an opportunity to win a championship, and survive through the trade rumors. Like I'll say this really quickly about Ja Morant. I know this is not about him, but I spoke about the fan base yesterday, what he owes to that fan base, right? Out of all of the trade rumors, out of everything that was said about Miles Turner, he still showed up best he could, and he still competed, and they still accomplished things. You know what I'm saying? Out of all of the talk, all of the rumors, he still showed up, and he was professional, and he did his part. So to see him receive like that, I didn't love it for him. It was disheartening.
Yeah, especially for a guy, too, like we talked about. This guy's been on the trade block, trade
Every
rumors,
year.
pretty much his entire career in Indiana, and he was a huge, vital part of that team that went to the finals that really had no business being there. Like they weren't one of the better teams. They weren't expected to be there. And Miles Turner, he played when hurt. He did take pay cuts. So again, I think this is just the unruly part of sports. And this is throughout fans. There's people in Dallas that booed Luka Doncic when he came back and he got traded in the nighttime and whispers.
That's crazy.
Chandler is an alien. He's not real, guys. He's not real.
Is it tweaking again?
Go ahead.
It makes me laugh. Like you're like.
This is just kind of the dirty, gross part of sports that everyone goes through, and it's a shame because these dudes do leave it all on the line. This dude did take a pay cut. He did play through injury. He did all the things that you would want as an organization, and you still have the audacity to boo him when he comes back after going to get his money. Like. I hate it. I hate it when it's pretty much any player in any sport. It's not fair, but also it's part of the business. And now you're on the enemy, so I get it from that aspect. Like,
yeah, sometimes
I remember when
But we have reasons to, like, fans usually have reasons to boo. So we must just not know. Like maybe there's something
basically
going on.
I'm a Pacer fan, and now you're on the Bucks, and we.
But I don't do that. As the fan
But
on
Chandler,
this panel,
usually,
I don't do that.
Yeah, like usually you get cheered when you arrive. You get cheered when they do your tribute video. And then after that, all is fair. You're gonna get booed for the rest of the game. That's what competitive sports are. But for him to be booed from the bus back to the bus,
that's weird.
That's kind of weird.
It's weird.
It's
a weird one.
I'm sure.
I don't remember
I'm sure
any
there's more to it than we know. But
I'm
not sure.
I don't remember any nasty headlines of him having animosity with the fan base or getting into it with anybody. So I don't really understand where it stems from. I just think this is how people react in sports, and it's a cold world, and I don't think it's fair. I don't think Miles Turner deserved it. I think it should have been the opposite. Matter of fact, I think it should have been a standing ovation and someone that led you to Game 7 of the finals last year, and then you didn't want to pay him what someone else did. He should be pissed off, not the other way around.
This was a weird one. As a person who enjoys booing when it's merited, I didn't get this one. I really didn't. Leading up to the game, he did talk about Pacers ownership and just sort of this. And by the way, if you have eyes, you probably agree. the look that they've just given up completely after becoming so very, very close to winning a title there, Chandler. I mean, is that even out of hand? Like, I feel like that statement's pretty truthful, it looks like.
No, and it feels like it. Obviously, with Tyrese going down, it's like, do we invest in Myles Turner when the head of our snake is going to be out, and we're not really going to be that contenders? And by the way, it's not even just Tyrese. They've had Toppin out, they've had McConnell out, they've had Mathurin out, they've had injuries, from top to bottom. So I think it was a decision that the ownership made, which is fair. We're not going to pay him that much money. Someone else did. Let him walk. We had a great run here. But the fact that there's any sort of animosity and stuff, and we live in a world of social media, man, where maybe he got in some spats. We saw the podcast that was kind of taken out of pocket about Tyrese. Also didn't really check out once you watch the whole thing. It wasn't shade to me at all. So I think a lot of things get misconstrued with social media and all these different platforms where you can get yourself in hot water. But Myles Turner really didn't do any of that.
Did not have this.
But you can't blame ownership, man. You really can't. If you ever had a garden snake at your house like I do in these deep woods from time to time, if you cut the head off that snake, no, listen, if you cut that head off the snake, I'm not preparing for nothing else. That's the end of the story. And with Tyrese Halliburton being out and we've reached the mountaintop and he's out for a season, hey, that's it, fellas. We got some time to figure this thing out and retool. As much talent as they had, they were only going to go as far as Tyrese was going to take them, and that shows in their record and where they are at 1-6 with so many injuries and all of these different things. So he can't be mad at ownership for that, and the fan base can't be mad at him for moving on and going to get his cheese either. So I don't know what the problem is.
Chandler, did Lou just get real tough about a garden snake?
Yeah, can we unpack that?
Listen, I got garden snakes. I got copperheads.
Okay,
I got it all in my backyard.
Copperhead's that's another animal. Garden snake, I even grew to be like, okay, they're around.
Everything getting its head cut off.
Damn, Lou, settle down.
Call it what you want. It's all dying.
Okay, let's move on.
Let's go.
This took a turn.
It really did. Here we go. Rockets with the win over Dallas. It's their fourth straight win. Don't look now. Amen Thompson with 27-4. Şengün finishes with 26, 11, and 6. Cooper Flagg had 12, 2 assists, but 4 turnovers, unfortunately. During this win streak, and I know a lot's been, when you lose Van Vliet, you're thinking, what's up? So Amen Thompson is averaging about 6.5 assists a game during the little streak here, Lou. A lot of questions about a full-time point guard. And I know we're already looking ahead to possible trades, but what do you make of his play so far in the spot?
I think he's held it down. I'm not sold on him being the full-time point guard, but then again, look at the system that they're playing. They just need guys to make plays when you have the ball in your hands, whomever that may be. And right now, Amen Thompson is that guy. Now, is this going to be something sustainable for the season when teams start to pick up their pressure or take the ball out of his hands, make somebody else bring it up and disrupt your offense? What's it going to look like from there? But as you can see, he's just using his body. He's just using his talent to get in the lane and create plays for other guys. He's not sitting there setting the table, making sure guys are in their right spots. He's attacking downhill early in the clock, and he's kicking it out to open shooters, which they have a ton of guys that can make open shots. They have a ton of guys that can finish. So that's working for them. Now, when you start playing a half-court style of basketball, like the postseason shows you, or the second half of the season, that's where you will get your true telltale signs of whether he can hold this down or not. But so far, so good. I can't pick it apart. This is a team that's 4-2, 5-2 so far with him at that spot. I say, why not at this moment? But if I'm the Houston Rockets, I'm still looking out there in the market to see who's out there to give me a little bit more reassurance.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is this a permanent fix on him being the starting point guard? I don't think so, but he's filling a hole that they need right now. Obviously, with Fred out, this offense doesn't really need a quarterback either to kind of set them up in the half court. He can do that. And by the way, as a 22-year-old kid a game manager, a 22-year-old kid to be able to just accept this new role of something that he's probably never done before is truly impressive. But when you play the Rockets and you are the Rockets offense, you are playing through Şengün and Kevin Durant, and that's going to be a heavy dose of that 2-man game. Yes, in a half court and out of timeouts, do I need a guy to set up the offense, get guys in their spot? And Amen Thompson's been doing a great job of that. You see some of these highlights. He's got a great feel for the game. He's so athletic. Most guys, most other teams can't put their point guard on him because he's too strong, he's too big, he's too athletic. You saw him on the first game of the season. he just kind of just goes at you and just kind of jumps and just leaps and uses his athleticism. So is he a point guard? Is he a true quarterback of this offense? No, but he's definitely holding it down, and he has definitely been a valuable piece. But to me, it's just the fact that he's been able to adapt and adjust to just play this role he's never had in the NBA. And some teams have thrown some pressure at him, but I'm throwing more up on them. I'm blitzing pick and rolls. I'm picking him up 94 feet. I'm making him bring it down Magic Johnson style back to me, because I am going to be pressuring him and making him uncomfortable. But he's handled it great. He's not really turning the ball over much. He's getting them in their sets, but you're playing through the big fella in KD anyways.
Feels very unfazed so far. Speaking of, KD recently took to Twitter, as one does. This was to respond to a post about Alperen Şengün and his skill level. I mean, the dude is 23 years old. Like, they're so young. It's weird to think about. He says he cannot believe his skill level. So I'm wondering, Chandler, like, the ceiling for Şengün is what exactly?
Is Jokic. He's that good. He is so skilled. He is so talented. I hate to do the comparison because he's just a big European white guy, but it's what he is. And you can play through him. You can play around him. He's one of those guys that can fit in any style of play, any offense. He can pick and pop. He can take you in the post. Like, do yourself a favor and watch more of these highlights. He is spooky, similar to Jokic, and almost he's more athletic. And he's more athletic.
I was about to say, you're doing him a disservice. He's way more athletic than you.
He's lighter.
He's also 23 years old, but Jokic was never this athletic. I'll tell you. But he's just, the ceiling is so high for him, and it's just, he's got a brilliant basketball mind. He's a point guard. Like, he is a point guard center, like Jokic plays, where that kind of gives them that not need of a point guard right now for the time being. But it's unbelievable. He kind of came out of nowhere, dude, and I think he got traded on draft night or something for like 2 future picks. Like, that
hurts.
That was a botch. But he's unbelievable. We're looking at an all-star for many years to come and all NBA type level player.
Love that.
This makes me want to go on a rant about youth sports, but I'll save it for another day.
Oh, wait. Okay, so this is a whole show we need to do one day. I love
play more like him.
Because look at all the European guys and their skill levels. USA, we gotta tighten back up. All our high school coaches, AAU coaches, all the trainers, let's tighten back up. Let's get out of this highlight reel culture that we in, worried about the internet. Let's get back to the basics, but that's another day.
Dang. Okay. By the way, last night was Humane
Society
Society
Beadle,
night.
I'm sorry. It's the coaching
I know.
me.
I like
I'm
it. One day we're gonna have like a special run it back. Humane Society night last night in Houston. Do yourself a favor. Go look at the videos, especially of Steven Adams cuddling a puppy. I'm just saying, it'll make your whole week. Okay. Moving on to Dallas, because yikes, that was supposed to be a little bit better, at least in Nico's hopes. This was supposed to turn out better, but they have the worst offense in the NBA at the moment, and they're averaging, oh my goodness, 103 points a game. Lou, I will start with you because we're going to get to Cooper Flagg specifically in a second, but this is like worst case scenario. Are we panicking, or have we been panicking?
They have to make some adjustments. Listen, we just talked about Houston and their point guard position. Dallas needs a point guard, and for whatever reason, they have one, and he's coming off the bench. Now, I'm looking at their roster. They got a lot of guys that can play basketball. They don't have a lot of guys that can play point guard. Now, I understand D'Angelo Russell is going to be the guy to come off the bench and give you that 6-man vibe, give you that 6-man feel. He's going to be able to score and make plays, so he gives you a balance. But at the top, you don't have anybody that can do the job. You know, you put Christie in there, and you know, he had a great game as far as numbers, but did he get guys in position to score? Did he make sure the table was set? You know, is he making sure that Cooper Flagg is in the right positions at the floor? A guy like Klay Thompson who's struggling to look like somebody got his Space Jam basketball and he needs it back. You got to get those type of guys to basketball. Like, he's a rhythm guy, right? So you got to make a concerted effort as a point guard and as a coach and as a team. We got to get those guys more looks and more opportunities. On paper, they look like a really good basketball team. It's just not panning out. And I think this starts with the point guard position. You know, Kyrie Irving being out is obviously going to hurt any team when you have that caliber of player that's out of your lineup. When an AD is out of the lineup, you're going to have some struggles. But you have a guy in D'Angelo Russell who can do that. He can score the basketball, he can facilitate your offense, and he can make plays for other guys. But you have him coming off the bench. At this point, you panic and you throw him in the starting lineup and you see if that helps. Until then, I think they're going to be a team that's going to struggle in early offense and transition until they clean up their point guard position.
Yeah, we're 2-5, guys. Like it's time to make it a little bit of an adjustment, right? Like we're playing guys out of position. There is light at the end of the tunnel. You have Cooper Flag, you have the talent, you have the size, you have Kyrie Irving coming back at some point this year, right? So I'm not fully hitting the panic button, but like Lou just alluded to, you have D'Angelo Russell, who's big time. Am I doing it again? Am I tweaking again?
Yeah, you're remixing. It's fine.
You have a guy in Ryan Nembhard who last night, and he's a true point guard. He gets a DMP coach's decision. Like I get Jason Kidd. He was a big guard. He can kind of, if I had anybody coaching Cooper Flag to kind of do that and to mold him into that point guard, it would be Jay Kidd. But it's not working. You got guys playing out of position. Their offense is dead last. Their offense is worse than the Wizards. Their offense is worse. Like it's the worst offense in the NBA. The Nets don't have a win, and their offense is better than the Dallas Mavericks offense. You got to change something, and it's probably the point guard position. Klay Thompson, I'm not ready to move him off the bench. He's got to continue to shoot. I think that would just shatter his confidence doing that because he's going to figure it out. He's one of the best shooters to ever walk the face of the earth. He's got to figure out, but they just need a setup guy. They need to play faster. They have this size. And again, like Lou said, the starting lineup looked cool on paper, like how big they were. And like they were, but it's not cool and it's not working. And they need to get D'Angelo Russell pronto Tonto in that starting lineup.
Dear Lord. I don't think anything can shatter Klay Thompson. I know there's not time.
The West is too good to be 2-5. You're digging a hole.
It's too good, and and we made a big fuss about Dallas being one of the teams that's supposed to be good for them. So getting behind the eight ball this early in the season, can't afford it. They got to figure this out fast.
Yeah, you're letting the Texas trio down right now, Dallas. Get it together. Take a quick break on the other side. First time on the show, Jared Weiss of The Athletic joins us to talk San Antonio Spurs when we come back.
Run it up, run it back.
Welcome back to Run It Back. All right, Jared Weiss, first time on here talking Spurs. So first of all, congratulations on the new beat. What a great time to get to cover the Spurs. Are you enjoying it so far?
Well, yeah, I'm covering Wemby. It's insane every single day.
It's got to be great out here. Is he like I know? Is he walking around outside in Los Angeles? Like I haven't heard of any spotting so far, but I feel like close.
I don't know. I mean, looking behind me, I don't think anybody can spot anybody in this fog right now.
Well, welcome. Sometimes it burns off, sometimes it doesn't.
It'll clear up around 11, like 11 noon. You'll have clear skies. We're used to it.
You'll be fine. Okay, let's talk about it. 5-1. Really don't love that one, but that's fine. In the locker room right now, and it's such a group of like young, fun guys. What is the vibe going in there every day?
Well, the one's inevitable. I haven't seen an 82-0 season. Maybe I forgot one, but like this is the question is they've been talking about how high the vibes are so far. Harrison Barnes literally gave a speech after a game about how high the vibes are, but you're going to lose. Things are going to go wrong. Wemby's not going to have good games. How does the team respond to that? This upcoming Laker game is the big test of that because we haven't seen how this team responds to adversity because they literally hadn't lost a game since the preseason started. It was their first loss in like 2 months. And so now we're starting to see what the real test of the character of this team is. But they've all been happy. Just like straight up happy. Like Keldon Johnson, that guy's singing. He's doing something crazy every single day. He's always in a great mood. Harrison Barnes, he's always steady. Wemby is just like this quiet, hulking presence in the locker room. And they have this really good mishmash of personalities that it just like they're having a good time. And really, it seems like the best time that they've had in a while.
Obviously, haven't made the playoffs last season and a bunch of seasons, truth be told. But the start has gotten some fans, and myself included, with the race for Stace chants coming back. Lou, shut your mouth. It's real, and I don't want to hear it.
As Jared, have you ever heard of it?
I know Jared's new. Have you heard Race for Stace yet? Because it's been around for about 10 years.
No idea what's happening right now.
Jared, I'm helping you out right now. So the race for the 6th banner.
Beadle, you're alone in this fight.
No, I'm helping
You're
him.
alone in this fight, Beadle.
After the 14th season, when everything was great, they were like, all right, we've got the 5th. Now we're moving on to the 6th, the race for Stace at San Antonio. We all speak Spanish. I got you, Jared. You just asked me. That being said, how realistic is it in that locker room? Does this team feel good enough about what they're putting on that floor day in, day out, that this is an actual contending team?
Well, you know, Wemby actually mentioned the race for Stace, but he was talking about the 6th seed. That's been their goal. They just want to make the postseason. And that's what they were like kind of hinting at. Most of these guys were like, I think the postseason would be good. They weren't even specifying play in versus top 6. And then Wemby was the one that came out and said, we want the 6th seed. Like, very straightforward. We want to get to the 6th seed. We want to be a lock for the postseason. I think it's that they want to establish their playoff team now. That this whole transition between dynasties is over. They are in the next phase of building up to the dynasty. They are in an era where they are expecting to make the postseason every single year. It is certainly realistic now that we see that they have won, all these games to start the season. And obviously they had an easier slate, but they also have been missing a lot of guys. They're missing like half their roster right now. So I think it's pretty realistic for them to make the postseason. It's not realistic at this point to expect them to beat teams like the Thunder and Golden State and Denver over the course of a 7-game series. But I think they're getting to the point where they're not going to at least embarrass themselves. Like, they're going to make it competitive.
Right. And you spoke about Wemby, and despite having 9 points last game, he's had an incredible start of the season. We got him in a top 3 MVP race right now. What has stood out the most to you being around him so far?
It's his power, which everyone notices, but it's also his patience. Like, he's really transformed into this guy that has had the game slow down for him. And I'm sure both of you have experienced that in your careers, where suddenly you don't feel like you're trying to play up to the pace of everyone else. You're kind of trying to dictate the pace of what's happening on the floor. And obviously his power to dictate is bigger than almost anybody else in the game. And so we're just seeing that he's letting the game come to him. And that's something that it usually takes guys like 4 or 5 years so they're really good at that. And he's kind of already getting there, and he's only at about 120 games into his career, which is really impressive. But he still has a long ways to go. And the big thing we're seeing now is teams are doubling and tripling him every time he touches the ball inside the post. And they're kind of trying to figure out, how can we get him the ball away from the post more, because teams have been kind of pushing him into that kind of setup. But he's shown that he can play out of the post already, and I think that's something he just wasn't that good at entering the season.
Before the season started, you had an article about, after the blood clot and when he was able to return, he returned with a vengeance. What was that? Like, how has that manifested so far that you've seen?
He called it his most violent summer. It was like an HBO film title or something like that.
John Wick.
I mean, he's just been taking people down left and right. And that's been what's so interesting about it, is his summer, obviously, it was about kind of getting vengeance over his body and being in control of his body again. And the whole story of this guy's career has been that, going back to when he was a teenager, he's always had this remarkable control over his body that a guy of his size has ever done. And people that aren't athletes don't understand the work is done mostly before the game even starts. It's just the constant training, it's the recovery, it's the mental fortitude. And I think that he realized that after the blood clot, he needs to prioritize that even more, which is something coming from a guy that's already done that. So he did everything from like these insane drills where he would have to guard like 5 guys one-on-one, then sprint down the floor and do it over again and not take a break until he completely passes out. Like, that's how he was doing his off-season training, while other guys are just kind of like, I'm going to work on my jump shot and see if I can hit a double cross into a step back. He was just like running himself into the ground over and over and over again, so that when he gets to the NBA level, he can handle running up and down the floor and not lose steam. He can handle the responsibility of being a high usage guy late in games where most players are kind of running out of gas. And that's when he really needs to actually put his foot on the pedal. So we've seen so far, I think the results of that have been that he's been much more consistent. And I think he's just still trying to figure out, how can I do the things that I've been working on all summer against all these defenses that are learning how to scheme against me to take me out of that.
Jared, answer me this, and you've been covering the NBA for a really long time, and you see Wemby, very close. How long before is he the best player? Like, how long do you say he's the best player in the NBA? Like, has it already happened? Is it next year?
Not. He's not there yet, because it's easy to get off to a hot start. It's hard to do it for 82 games, and it's even harder to do it over the course of a 20-plus game postseason run. And we know that guys like Jokic and Shea and Giannis and probably even Luka, the healthy guys right now, they can do all that. And we don't know what Wemby's longevity is going to be over the course of this year. And defenses are already giving him fits right now, and he's facing I mean, Miami obviously was really good, but like Phoenix did a really good job against them. And like, they're going to see way harder defenses in some of these games, way harder defenses in the postseason. So I think we need to wait a few years before we expect that. I would say probably 2 more years based on how rapidly he's developing right now, but we can't get ahead of ourselves here. And I know it's kind of like with Shohei Ohtani, where the aggregate impact is so amazing that even if he isn't dramatically better at like a few different things than everybody else, and it's not like one thing where he's obviously better than everybody, if you tally up all the places he makes an impact, it's pretty enormous. So it's really hard with him to say, like, is he actually better than Jokic, or is he actually better than Giannis or Shea? I think a couple of years from now we probably won't really wonder.
Yeah,
I think that's, it's a lot of pressure so fast on this kid. I have one more Wemby question, I promise, because this seems to be the biggest mystery, right? Like 7'4". No, he's 7'5". No, he's 7'3". I have literally heard people in this business say he's 7'7". Why is this such a mystery? Are we ever going to get a final answer on how tall he actually is?
You know, well, for one, we do. The answer is 7'4". Now, whether the world believes the answer, that's the reason why we're talking about this on TV right now. And I don't know exactly why, and I think maybe Chandler especially could speak to this better than I can, because I'm 5'11.75", around up to 6 feet. If anyone is concerned, I'm 6 feet. Okay,
yeah, why not?
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Trust me, I got real happy when they got up to that 0.75. I'm like, oh, I'm rounding up, and nobody can say nothing about it. But like, I think that he doesn't want to be the tallest player ever. I think he just I don't think he wants to have something that makes him stand out in that regard. And I remember when I was asking him about this a few weeks ago, and I explained to him, people want to see something new. And just look at the way the NBA fans react to certain things in our, kind of coverage over the years. They care more about the trades and free agency than they do about the games most of the time, because they care about knowing what's new and seeing what's new. People get excited about a product launch. They don't get excited about the iPhone 17. They get excited about the iPhone 1. And so when Wemby is the tallest player ever, or just about, and he's doing all these things, fans are like, I've never seen this before. This is something new, and that makes me excited. People don't want to see something that's marginally better than the last thing. They want to see something that's never happened before. So when we find out that Wemby is indeed 7'12" or whatever he really is, it's so exciting because that hasn't happened yet. There's been a couple 7'6" guys, a couple 7'7" guys that maybe were really 7'6", and they was just being measured in shoes back then, which is still the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I don't know how the NBA perpetrated that for so long, that the only people in the world whose height was in shoes were NBA players, and the rest of us are in socks or barefoot. But, Wemby is apparently 7'4" barefoot. I did the story on The Athletic where we explained the method for how the NBA requires these guys to be measured. It takes like 4 different trainers. One person, his job is literally to sit on the ground and hold the player by the ankles and then make them lift their toes off the floor so that their heels are glued to the ground. Like, this is what they do. There's a guy on the side just making sure that the person isn't swaying too far one way or the other. Another person looking. Then there's another person on. For Wemby, I'm guessing one of those fire cranes they use to rescue cats from trees to go measure how tall he actually is. So it's a pretty complex process. It's supposed to be certified by a physician, whatever that means. And like, that's the way that they do these measurements. It's not just like somebody just uses the iPhone measuring tool and they're like, that looks about right. So apparently he's 7'4". If you ask me, I think he's at least 7'5", maybe even 7'6".
Okay, there it is.
The measuring of the shoes back in the day too. It wasn't just shoes. I would get my ankles taped. I would wear 2 or 3 pairs of socks. You could gain another inch in that combine, Lou.
I was about to say, Chandler, they almost wanted us to be taller. Like,
I lied about my height my entire career.
We don't care. Like, they wanted us to look like giants back in the day. Now you got to be accurate, I suppose.
Dang.
That's true.
No idea.
Jared, I got to ask you about the rookie Dylan Harper. Obviously, he got off to a great start. He just sustained a hamstring injury against the Suns. He's going to be out a couple of weeks. With De'Aaron Fox out, now with Harper out, what is their plan moving forward? With they still have depth there, but they got to figure out something here.
An important thing here, the reporting was that he'll be out multiple weeks. Multiple and couple are technically different, right? And I think there's a reason that word is being used, especially with the Spurs. The one thing I'm learning early on is timelines aren't really a thing that they do. Guys are out, and they're out for they're day to day, and technically there's 365 days in the year. So we'll see how many day to days they are. And so they have De'Aaron Fox really close to return. They haven't been committal at all as to how far that's going to be. It could be for this Laker game on Wednesday. It could be when they get home to play Houston. That's another national game. So there's a few kind of clear games where it makes sense for him to come back. I've been watching the guy practice for a few weeks now. He certainly looks ready. Like watching him before the Phoenix game, he was just kind of levitating in the air on these warm-up layups. Like the guy looks pretty close to ready, but he's got a hamstring, so you never know how those things are. And so once they get Fox back, and they still have dual playmakers between him and Castle, they're in a pretty good space right there. Like they're pretty ready to roll with that. Until they get Fox back, though, with Harper out now, they've got a lot of playmaking concerns. And Castle's been really good. He's been very aggressive. He also needs control. He needs to have better shot selection at times. He needs to stop turning the ball over. And it's putting a lot of pressure on Wemby, who's been kind of stuck in the post a lot here. So their offense could be in trouble for a little bit if it takes Fox some time to get back. And that's going to force them to really adapt. But they've got Fox. They have Sohan, Luke Cornett, Kelly Olynyk as backup bigs. Like they have a lot of guys here that they're waiting to see them come back or even make their season debuts.
Really quickly on the Pop banner thing. I've been around that team since forever, and this seemed very on brand, but at the same time they honor him with a banner, but there's no like ceremony or anything really attached to it. It was just, it's like the fans walked in, all of a sudden there's a big old banner up there for Pop. I got no issue with it, but was there an explanation of why so quietly the way they did this?
No, that's like the best part is no one really explained it. The players came out and they were like, I guess that's just what he wanted and you have to respect what he wanted. But like Wemby was even talking about how he went out there for his pregame warmup and he looked up, he was like, oh, interesting. And that's it. And that is one of the most iconic coaching careers in American sports history. That's how it's summed up. It's like, oh, that's there. Interesting. And that's how Pop would have wanted it.
It's it was the most on brand thing I had ever heard. Jared, I lied to you. I will be at the Lakers game, so hopefully we can meet in person on Wednesday. Hey. Thank you so much.
Race for Sace, Jared.
Race for Sace. Just know it. The fans know it. I promise you, I wouldn't steer you wrong. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll talk a little John Morant on the other side.
You feel like you get the same joy right now that we used to see from you?
No.
Why not?
What can be done to get it back?
We'll see.
Do you think you have a good relationship with the franchise?
Yeah.
In general?
Yeah. They told y'all that, right?
Oh, God. Okay, Lou, your first the no joy part is pretty sad. What'd you think?
Yeah, I hate to hear it. As players, we all come to a crossroads where, things just don't feel right. And fans don't understand this. Like when you play in the NBA, you spend a lot of time in that locker room. You spend a lot of time in the building. You spend a lot of time around people that if you're not getting along with, it can be uncomfortable and it can strip your joy away from playing the game of basketball. Now, a lot of ignorant people will say, well, you get paid millions of dollars and you're an athlete. Get over it. Imagine walking into your workplace and you hate your boss and you hate your supervisor and you're just sitting there for 8-9 hours. No different for professional athletes. And so Josh saying that you can tell that the environment is toxic. He's over it. It looks like the organization is trying to move forward best they can with him being involved. But I think we're getting to a place of no return. And, they're probably going to have to start looking at options that's going to work mutually. But I hate to see him saying, that the joy is gone because, again, you spend so much time around each other. And if it just doesn't feel good, it's hard to win and work and be happy in that type of environment when you're a player.
Yeah. And this particularly sucks because like I lost my joy when I got hurt. I lost my joy when I was physically in pain and couldn't play to the level that I used to be able to play at. He's healthy and he lost his joy. Like Jimmy Butler was healthy and lost his joy. So that's something that's personal. That's something that's affecting his day-to-day life. Like Lou said, one bad seed in a locker room, in a franchise, in an organization, in a front office, it can really spoil your time there with that team. So he's done. And it's hard not to take it that way when he just got suspended from, detrimental comments about his team and his coach. And then the very next night he goes and he's basically says this in a passive aggressive way, but basically let it be known that he's not having fun. He's not happy. And that's what they told you, right? Like clearly there's an issue here that doesn't seem to be getting resolved anytime fast, and they're losing games. They're not a contender. It's not a fun place to be right now. It's not a fun franchise to be right now. So it sucks because when you think of the Memphis Grizzlies, you think of John Morant, and it just feels like that ship has sailed. And I do think they need to start looking at different options and start thinking of ways that you could possibly move him, because they're not firing the coach. They just fired Taylor Jenkins for this guy. Just hired this guy. So
could they not though?
Like, gotta be.
Is it fixable if you just came in and said whole coaching staff is out, we're starting over? I mean,
yeah, but then what? Now,
I don't think so.
Yeah, what is the tone that you're setting by bringing in a third crop of a coaching staff after this? Like at some point, the first look is usually the coach. The second look is to replace the coach. Then the third look is going to be the player. We're at the third look right now. We're at the third phase of this, and now it's the player's turn to be looked at. And I'll say this about Ja: as unhappy as you are, your joy being stolen and all of those things, Chandler made this point 2 days ago. There's 29 other teams that are watching. So how bad this looks from an optic standpoint, you may not go to a scenario that's even better, because now teams are just going to wait it out, and they're knowing that it's going to be a clearance sale, and then it's not going to be the value that you want. It's not going to be the scenario that you want, because you're going to lose your leverage in this, going about it in this particular fashion. And teams are, they're going to show you that, hey, at the end of the day, we have the power to send you wherever we want to send you, and we can hide you somewhere that you don't want to be. You may not go to a team that you want to play for. And so because of that, I like the fact that he competed again last night, and his numbers showed that he tried to go win a basketball game and it didn't go their way. But just go out and compete, be quiet. Listen, I know you pay your agents millions of dollars. Let them earn their money. Let them earn their money behind closed doors, and you just play basketball and just stay out of this stuff. You've made your point already. Don't drag it on. Allow the powers that be to figure this out behind closed doors at this point.
We're going to take a very quick break. Some fun stuff on the other side when we return.
Run it up, then run it back. Run it back.
40 seconds for Prop Party. Chandler, go.
Give me the Oklahoma City money line. Clippers played last night. I like them off back-to-back. And Casey Wallace over 1.5 steals. He leads the league with 3 steals. He's going to get you 2.
You. Lou?
I got a shootout on my hands. I'm looking at Kawhi Leonard over in points, and I like SGA over in points as well. I want to see a shootout from the best players in the game, so that's what I'm rooting for. That's how I'm betting.
Yeah, mine's boring. Thunder going to lose one day, ain't going to be tonight. Thunder money line, SGA over the points.
Safe bets.
I think we all overlapped. Guys, we did it. We did it. Another show, another million. See y'all tomorrow.